Okay, today we're going to work on creating our modernized version of the Parthenon, which is a famous Greek sculpture. So we're going to use 2-point perspective for this. So the first thing that we need to do when we are going to create our Parthenon is to give ourselves a horizon line. We're going to have a left vanishing point and a right vanishing point. We start by drawing the edge of our building. And we're going to have each side, I actually want to go a little bit lower than the horizon line, each side moving to our vanishing points respectively. Left to left, right to right. And then we're going to decide how wide we want the front. So it's a rectangular building, so we're going to try to keep our lines parallel. So that will be the length of our building. Then we want to go in and erase our horizon line, just to help us have a better point of view when we're drawing. Okay, so we want to be able to properly space out our columns. We are going to find the center point of the front of our building. We do this by drawing an X through it. Where our two lines meet, that is going to be the center of the facade of our building. So we will place one column there. We're going to do it again. We'll have one column here. We'll do it one more time. Okay, so that means all our columns will be equally spaced all the way across. We can do the same. Oops. Okay, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and in each of those we're going to go further and add more columns. Now the lines can get slightly confusing, so we're going to want to erase those after. Just try to remember kind of where you've already gone as you go. Okay, so that will create an equal spacing. I'm going to erase most of these lines and kind of redraw them a little bit darker. So let's try this again. So that will be where we will space out our columns, and it means that they will be visually represented as equally spaced apart. Now remember, the center of the front of our building is right here. When we want to create our pediment, we're going to work our way up from that line. Before we do that, we're going to create the area where our frieze is going to be. So moving to that vanishing point, slightly overhangs. And again, moving to our other vanishing point, we have a slight overhang on this side. So if this is going to be the height of our pediment, the triangular area at the top of our Greek temple, we can create our lines there. Now remember, because my vanishing points are so close together here and here, we're going to get a really extreme angle. That won't happen with yours. So we're going to match this line to this line, okay, to create the top of our Parthenon. So that's the basic structure of our Parthenon. We can also create our stairs. Now I'm going to kind of freehand these. Okay. We're going to have the same lines moving to our vanishing point on the other side of our page. Okay. Another element that you need to include in your design is going to be some sort of pathway or sidewalk. So you can decide how thick. I want a large entryway to this left-hand side of my building, so I'm going to do my 2 dots to show the width of my entryway, and I'm going to match up my ruler with my right vanishing point, and I'm going to have a line that will go through those 2 dots to show the front entryway of my building. You can kind of, there you go, see it a little bit better there. And maybe I want to have just a really small, narrow path on this side. I'm going to match up my dots. You also need to include stanchions, which are like the VIP rope holders, or some kind of posts in the ground. And I will just draw one here for you. So when you're making them, it's essentially like you're making a very tall, thin rectangle. So we have our lines receding back to our left and right vanishing points. We're going to trim them, remembering to keep those lines parallel, and then we cross them over. So right goes to left, left goes to right, and then we can erase our guidelines. Let's say we make another matching one here. Just so you can see how the 2 of them would match up. Okay. And then you could have some kind of rope if you so desire. Attaching the 2. When you're going to create the tops of your columns, you need to remember that there's going to be a base if you're doing Corinthian and Ionic. Doric is going to have a flat attachment. There is a base to that type of column. But you should keep that in mind when you're drawing your columns. And I'm just kind of roughly sketching them. Yours are going to be a little bit more detailed than this, obviously, but I just want you to get a general understanding of where we would like you to go with this project. So that's the basic shape of the Parthenon. Your assignment is going to be to take this basic shape of the Parthenon and turn it into something modern. Create, using this shape, a space where you would like to spend time. So it could be a library, it could be a skate shop, it could be a mall, a restaurant, whatever you are interested in creating. So your final piece could be something like this. In this case, it's a coffee shop. And we have some signage out front. I want to kind of highlight some of the things that you need to have. So you need to have this area here is called a frieze. There needs to be some kind of decoration in this area here. You need to have your pediment, which is this triangular area. Traditionally, there were sculptures of people in this area, but your pediment should be themed to your own choice of building. You need to have columns. And you need to decide if those are Doric, Ionic, or Corinthian. So which one are you going to choose to use? Just move this over slightly. There we go. You also have to have some kind of greenery. You have to have some kind of pathway or sidewalk. You need to have the stanchions or the VIP ropes or posts, and there must be themed elements. And signage. So all of these elements all together will create the design of your building. And then when you're actually coloring it in, the background's going to be in color. And you're going to use stippling technique, like so, on the buildings to create your value tones. So anywhere you want to have some shading, you're going to stipple your building. So what you guys need to do right now is start sketching, brainstorming, and coming up with your theme for your new take on the Parthenon.